Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to sunny Florida, here tonight for the AOG Porsche Cup Series, round number 7. Here tonight coming from Homestead, Miami Speedway on road course number 8 tonight. Should be a fantastic night of racing once again for the penultimate round of this fantastic season. My name is Brady Baldwin. Jumped in to lead commentate tonight here with Jay Kennedy alongside me, also doing production. Jay, unfortunately we missed the last couple of rounds of the broadcast in this series, but boy oh boy, it's certainly heating up in the championship as well, and what a track to come race at tonight.
Yeah, really cool track, a unique circuit for the drivers, and one that I don't think any of them would have expected when we jumped in to look at the calendar early on in the season. But yeah, this circuit here at Homestead, Miami, as you said, using the A layout, so there's none of the oval used except for the straights. The infield, as well as the corners, is where all of the action will take place, other than the front and back straight. It's a very, very cool track, though. It's a really cool layout, very, very tough through that final little chicane at turns 10, 11, 12. We'll catch a few drivers out, and that little sweeping bend at the exit of 4 that cuts back at turn 5 will also trouble some drivers as well, but overall it's a very, very cool track.
Yeah, I was telling you off air that years ago I raced here in a GT3 league at one stage and really enjoyed this track, but very, very technical. So a lot of the course, especially turn 3 and 4, was definitely the ones that caught me off guard way back when. So drivers are certainly in for it, especially in these Porsche Cup cars. Not too much downforce, a lot of power, and definitely not performing too well on the cold tyres. So certainly a big challenge for all drivers tonight on the 12 corner, 3.5 kilometres here at Homestead, Miami. We'll quickly look at the championship points if we can, Jay, because in Pro-Am it's certainly heating up, but in the Pro category, Matthew Bowler, pretty convincing lead in front of Corey Lazarus and Job Stewart, and looks like Job Stewart's actually not here tonight. Obviously competed at Bathurst on the weekend, so still probably coming back from that, but Matt Bowler certainly looking in control with just tonight and one more round left to go.
Yeah, what a performance that Joe did at Bathurst too, winning the Super 2 race by a good old 15 seconds or so. So he did a really, really good job. So congratulations to him on that. But yeah, championship, Matt Bowler has one hand on the proverbial trophy at the moment. He's looking very, very strong. But we've seen how quickly championships can change and do change. So one foul step around this circuit, which has a lot of walls close by. It actually feels a bit street circuit-ish through the middle. Could cause some dramas, but he's looking pretty good. The midfield fight, though, is very, very close between the likes of Stewart and Shepherd, as you said, and Lazarus. But then from there back, Gibbs, Lawrence, Sproul, and Hughes all close together. Boylett and Dyson are close, and just behind them, there's a couple of other contenders as well that are pretty close. So that's going to be a really, really cool championship to watch over the next few weeks. As Pro-Am, as we said, extremely close. We will see the championship decided one way or another at the final round.
Yeah, just 11 points separating DPR's Ryan Jones and 9.5's Simon Mazzomo, and really 73 points back is Joshua Van Treek. He's not out of it either, so don't discount the number 9 whatsoever, but at the moment it's down to Jones and Mazzomo, and really probably whoever finishes the best in the last 2 rounds is probably going to take out the championship. Jacob Lucas not too far back, he can potentially catch Van Treek as well for P3 in the championship. Then a pretty sizable gap, about 160 points or so back to Santa Lucia, Osoferne and Brody Shepherd of the likes. So, but certainly the top of the championship in Pro-Am will be the one to watch in the last 2 rounds. And in the M class standings, it's Adam Jepson leading those points over Ben Jeffrey and Dean Jacobson, but by the looks, it looks like only Dean Jacobson of those top 3 is actually in the serve tonight to race. Dan Mirko is in there as well, so potentially, with we believe no drop rounds in this series, Dean Jacobson could take out quite a sizable chunk into that lead of Adam Jepson.
He's just got to get some good points tonight, doesn't he? Just a good result will help consolidate a potential championship win for him. So very important for him to do that tonight. This is the format for tonight. Pretty simple. Not much to it, but while it looks simple on paper, getting out on track and performing well, never easy. Group qualifying is on right now. The pro drivers currently on track. Race 1, Race 2, Race 3, all the same, 15 laps, all 25 minutes. Obviously, they could be hampered with safety car interventions potentially, but reverse top 8 and then reverse top 6. Overtaking is at a big premium tonight because you can't just rest on your laurels in that second race and take the advantage of getting overtakes for free with the reverse grid. You've then got to go and make them again to make sure that you get points again in that last race too. So I think this is a really cool format.
Yeah, we need this in the real life supercar series, don't we, Jay? Spice it up a little bit with reverse grids and stuff like that. I like it, so keep everyone on their toes all night long. Like you said, 15 laps in each race, and only a minute 22 lap time around here. It's pretty fast. We're on board with Ruby Gibbs. They're currently P3 in the standings, 122.8. But at the moment, it's Ryan Bettis for OPR currently on top of the standings. It's the first time I've actually seen Ryan in this series, and so far he's on top by nearly 2 seconds a second over championship leader Matthew Bowler.
He's doing a really good job at the moment, so we'll see what he can do. And just to note as well, we'll see Ryan Jones a little bit further back. He's actually a long way back behind Mazzomo in class. Actually hadn't done any practice, been away at Bathurst all weekend working, and now got back in the sim around about half an hour before qualifying or so. So hasn't had much time to get used to the track. For being an oval driver, he does know the circuit a little bit, would understand how the pit lane functions, so he's got a little bit of a heads up on other drivers that may not have raced here before. Robbie Gibbs about to finish his flying lap. We'll see what he can do. Looks pretty decent.
Yeah, like you just touched on, Jay, I don't think this is a very familiar track for a lot of people. Potentially the oval configuration, but definitely not the road course. Don't see too many series run here. Believe potentially V8 Veteran here a season or 2 ago. I'm not sure if it was this layout, but it was on a road course, as Hayden Velds had a big incident. It looks like coming off the final corner, but he's going to go to the pits, get that repaired and come back out. But Ryan Bettis still on top at 122.654. He's on the run now to the tight turn number 8. We're on board with the 033. Very, very slow corner. Gets on the power, onto the back straight, the long sweeping run down the back straight of the oval. There'll be a sharp, fast approach into turn number 9, all the way to the right, down the back straight, then fast flowing. Massive commitment for Bettis through 10 now to the left-hander. Now right-hander through 11, another left-hander to 12. Comes back on massive bump there on the exit of turn number 12 as well. And that's the back half of a lap around Homestead. It's pretty well, Jay.
It is, and I just believe we've crashed the timing while we were doing that, so that's why the time stopped. But there you go, 22.6. He improves. Lazarus, I can't even speak tonight, has improved as well. Important from this session, Capel, Nick Carroll, and Hayden Veld all have not posted lap times at this moment, as Robbie Gibbs goes P1.
Yeah, stonky lad there from Robbie Gibbs, 122.397. His teammate in tow, Matthew Bowler, who just went to position number 3 for his personal best lap of the session. So currently your top 3 sits Robbie Gibbs, Ryan Bettis, and Matthew Bowler, and closely followed by Corey Lazarus. So those 3 guys, Bettis, Bowler, Lazarus, separated by less than a tenth. So we'll go to a Bowler meter replay of Hayden Veld coming through 11 and 12 and gets that tyre bundle. We did get told during the week that tyre bundle could cause some potential issues, and it already has in qualifying here, Joe.
Yep, and you won't be the only driver to hit it in this session. You won't be the only driver to hit it all night. We will see that tyre bundle come into play. Hopefully, we don't see it cause too much drama when we get into racing action. Now, Bowler not far away from completing his lap. We'll see how this lap finishes off, but it looks pretty decent at the moment.
Yeah, it does look pretty decent. No mistakes. But I can see on my end very close to the tyre bundle at turn number 12. Didn't look like he got the best run coming onto the oval. It's a very awkward transition onto the oval part with the banking. He's going slightly slower, just only by about half a tenth. So he will remain position number 3. Hayden Veld has come out of the pits, got that car repaired. Now he's going to try and set just a lap. He has not set one so far. 4 defunct laps for the 53 of Hayden Veld with just under 3 minutes remaining in the session. Remember, because we do have multiple races here tonight, it'll be a hard cut at the end of the session. 2 minutes 50 remaining. Let's see if the 53 can finally get a lap on the board.
Ryan Bettis is slowed up as well, so it looks like he's slowing up to try and finish or come up to the line at the right time to do a flying lap. Really got to be careful how you go from the exit of the infield and up onto the track proper. It's not an issue down the back straight because you flow onto a fairly flat piece of track, but through that corner there, it's really going to be tough for some drivers when we get into the race, because if you are too aggressive and come up at too straight, you will scrape the bottom of the car, you'll damage the floor, you'll damage the front splitter. So drivers really have to be careful. Looks like Veld might be done for that lap. That will not be an improvement. He's got time though potentially to maybe get around and do another one.
Yeah, you touch on it again, that transition onto the front straight, especially in the race mode as well. If you got a few cars around you, get on the gas a little bit too early, can definitely upset the car. Look at the transition there. Oh, Lachlan Cable carrying the front end on the transition. So I would not be surprised if we see a few issues in that corner tonight. But Lachlan Cable looks like he's setting up for his final flying lap. Just a touch over a minute 30 left in this session. Hayden Veld, this will be his flying lap, last flying lap, sorry, in the 53. He has got a lap now on the board at 23.3, so just under a second off the pace for Veld. Not where he would want to be, but he'll be happy just to get another improvement and try and get himself a little bit further up the order. Still a few guys. Nick Carroll still hasn't got a flying lap, and Jacob Lucas from Pro-Am, still he didn't set a flying lap either. Hayden Veld will cross the line at 23.5, so that will be his qualifying session done.
Yeah, no improvement on that lap, so the best he will start is 12th, although no one is behind him in regards to the qualifying session that is on track, so he will start 12th. Here comes Corey Lazarus. One thing I'm noticing from watching these guys come up that bump, would they be better off in improvement there for Lazarus? He won't gain a spot. Would they be better off driving down the straight a little bit further before they go up the track? I'm surprised that they're going up as aggressively as they are, because it does look like it is slowing the car down and unsettling it quite aggressively.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see someone potentially try it in the race, because we've seen it multiple times already, that the car just does not react so well whatsoever. So it's going to be very interesting how drivers attack it during the race. We've got 10 seconds remaining in the session. It doesn't look like anyone else is going to cross the finish line, so I believe that will be it as we tick down to 0, and Robbie Gibbs will take pole position here tonight at Homestead, Miami, and a stonking lap to a 22.3, just over a tenth clear of Ryan Bettis, as we will go through the grid for the first 15 lap race of the evening. Looks like we got 20 cars on the grid for tonight's race over 3 different classes. Robbie Gibbs on pole position, like we touched on. Ryan Bettis for Blackout OPR will share the front row with him. Matthew Bowler and Corey Lazarus, 2 championship protagonists, will share row number 2. Dylan Shepherd, and Lachlan Capel will share row number 3. Stuart Ellis and Samuel Sproul will share row number 4, and rounding out the top 10 will be Gene Jacobson and Sam Blacklock.
Yeah, good job from Jacobson. He's an AM driver in amongst the pro field. Then we go back to 2 more pros, Harry Lawrence and Hayden Veld. Before we get into our pro AM drivers, Mazomo and Liam Jensen. Then we go back further to Lee Cadulis and Ryan Jones. They're our 4 qualifiers for Pro-Am. We've got a couple more AM drivers here with Mirko and Wilson, the Race on Oz drivers on row 9. And we go back further to Nick Carroll and Jacob Lucas, the last 2 drivers to post to join the session. We have 2 safety cars if needed. If we do see a safety car, it could make these races time certain, so don't be surprised if we see a safety car intervention as well because of the nature of this circuit. One other factor we haven't talked about yet, standing starts on a slightly banked track, never easy.
No, certainly not. I remember a few races in V8s and other categories as well at Daytona, and that's a lot more banked, and that's very tricky. So I think the drivers will have as much trouble as what they would at a Daytona, but certainly not easy with that banking as well. And it's actually surprisingly how banked this track is at Homestead, Miami. But Robbie Gibbs has a perfect view of the start line, and we are timing down to 0. The revs rise for race number 1 here tonight, Porsche AOG Cup. And Robbie Gibbs is away. A very poor start though from Robbie Gibbs. Ryan Bettis has driven away from the front row. Corey Lazarus will follow his teammate. It's going to be a blackout OPR 1-2 as Lazarus covers the inside on Robbie Gibbs. All clean through the field. Coming up to turn number 3 now, side by side in the mid-pack, but what a start for Ryan Bettis.
He absolutely timed that launch perfectly. I don't know if he guessed that or just was perfect on the clutch, but he just dropped it at the perfect moment, drove away from the field, and is now building a tiny little margin as we're 3 wide. Big lock up there is that Sam Blacklock, and he's made contact there with the 606 of Sam Sproul. Sam Blacklock, who has sat in race control for a few races, he might be feeling the wrath of them right now.
Yeah, it's a big lock up there for Sam Blacklock. Unfortunately, massive mistake for the 215 driver, and unfortunately he's going to be right in the back end. Probably going to have a penalty coming his way as well. Ryan Bettis, though, he got a massive launch, and that lead he's got has already shrunk just a little bit. Corey Lazarus still in P2, but Robbie Gibbs is hunting him down already and wants to make amends for that poor start.
And that there was Stuart Ellis getting through on Harry Lawrence. We'll also see Dean Jacobson. He's dropped to the back of the field. Remember, he started in the top 10, qualified it in the top 10, and he's back to the back of the field. We said he needed a good night. This is not how it was planned.
No, definitely not a great start for Dean Jacobson, especially since he's championship protagonist not here tonight, so he hopefully will probably be hoping for a safety car. This is a replay of Blacklock, unfortunately. Big lock up and gets into Samuel Sproul, unfortunately. It's going to probably see a drive-through penalty for the 215. We'll try and see what happens to Jacobson here in the mid-pack. He said a fantastic qualifying in the top 10. Does he just make a mistake at turn number 8 at the hairpin? We'll have to see our bowler media replay. All good so far.
Here, has he? Yep.
Yeah, he's lost the rear end, unfortunately for Jake. It's an easy mistake to make, especially in these Porsche Cup cars. Cold rear tyres is not your friend in these cars, but still out in front, Ryan Bettis halfway around lap number 2 continues to lead. There's Stuart Ellis in the background battling Harry Lawrence. That's for position number 8 on the road. The top 9 cars, all pro drivers. And look at that. Despite qualifying nowhere near each other, Mazomo and Jones are together on track.
Yep, always seems to be the way, and Mazomo has actually lost a spot to Ryan Jones as well, so Mazomo's dropped back behind him. He's still net up 1 from where he started, obviously down in class, but net up overall positions. And Jones obviously is up to the front of the field in that class. Go back to the front overall, because Metes stretched it out to almost a second advantage after the first lap, but that's now come down. It is now down to under half a second. Gibbs and Bowler are there ready to pounce.
There's 6-car train separated by just over 2 seconds, and then Hayden Veld another 2 seconds back. Capel looks like he's just dropping off the back, and Harry Lawrence, he's had a moment as well. Potential contact. The number 15 machine is slowing. It looks like he's just lost it on his own, Jay. If we can try and pick up a little replay when we can. He's been collected by Ryan Jones, so potentially championship implications here for Ryan Jones. I know it's the second last round, but this could have a massive effect if he's got some severe damage on the front of the number 11.
Well, fingers crossed he doesn't have any damage, because he will unfortunately be struggling with his car if that is the case. Also just had a 10-second penalty come through for Sam Blacklock. He did redress that position. Quickly look at the replay, as you see on the bottom of the screen, side by side. Mizomo's going to get the move done. And that's just a lazy little spin, and that's what's brought those 2 cars close together. I think Ryan Jones is damaged.
Yeah, and now he is under threat from Mizomo, who gets the move done, and now Jones gets into his rear bumper. So the 2 championship protagonists in Pro-Am going at it for the honours for their class here tonight already. Lap number 4 of race number 1, and Dan Mirko, he's currently leading the AM class. He's not too far behind them either. He's trying to make positions, and Mirko actually has an off end behind him, so 37 lost traction in the rear. We've seen that a couple of times already, Jay. The tyres not quite getting up to temperature here, despite we've been in Florida.
Yeah, well, I mean, the track isn't as hot as you probably would expect in October as well. It's cooling down. And also, it's relatively late evening as well, so the sun is setting. The artificial light will take effect more so than the natural light. And you can see the headlights ablaze as well. Strong wind as well, which is not too surprising for this track. But yeah, I think the cooler conditions are probably catching some drivers out. They might have thought the track would have been a bit warmer.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely is getting into the winter time in America, so not surprising that we don't have major high track temps, but we are 6 p.m. in the evening. See headlights on the Porsche Cup cars in use. The top 5 still, it looks like actually Dylan Shepard's dropped off a little bit to Matthew Bowler, but still 2.7 seconds separating the top 6, so one little mistake from any of these guys will cost him dearly. But Jay, I might be calling a little bit early, but potentially he's a little bit too tough to pass around this circuit so far. We're not seeing too much action so far in this race.
Potentially it could be too tough to pass, or are drivers concerned that their tyres will struggle by the end of the race? So they're just conserving a little bit, they're not pushing at 110%. Because I've just seen, we saw Dan Mirko have that issue before. He's had another moment, so potentially has a little bit of damage. He's now dropped back to 3rd in class. Yeah,
off there. Potentially when he got his height, oh, it looks like
his teammate's done the same thing. That's Jacobson, was it? It's done the same thing.
No,
oh no!
No, up the front. Corey Lazarus has been spun, but it looks like by Robbie Gibbs. So Lazarus straight on the mic to race control for them to have a look at it. We'll try and pick up a replay again. Looks like Gibbs went down the inside and did not get up far enough, and has caused contact with Corey Lazarus. Again, the bowler media replay once again. Down the inside at turn number 8 for Robbie Gibbs. Gets in the left rear corner, and it looks like that's probably a slam dunk. Probably a 5 or 10 second penalty there for Robbie Gibbs, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Robbie Gibbs will get a penalty of some sort. The severity, we're not too sure, but a little bit clumsy. I mean, we've watched Robbie race throughout this series and other series. He's not a dirty driver, so that's just an honest mistake. But those are the mistakes that happen when the intensity of the racing is as high as it is here. As Speaking of intense overtakings, that is Hayden Veld through on Harry Lawrence. Lawrence is struggling a lot at this track. I mean, we've seen him made that mistake, but he just doesn't look his normal, comfortable self. He's just dropping back through the field, uncharacteristic.
And also Hayden Veld, he was pretty close to the back of Lachlan Capel. I just picked a couple laps ago. He did have an off, so that's why he is where he is, down in position number 10. He's only about a second off P number 6. But what that mistake has done from Robbie Gibbs getting into Corey Lazarus, it's opened the gap up for Ryan Bettis out in front, 1.4 seconds, 1.5 the gap, and now we've just gotten the call in, Robbie Gibbs, to redress the position with Corey Lazarus. So I think that's probably a pretty good call, just redress the position and let him race on. So that's a good call from race control there. So I assume Robbie will probably get it done on the front straight and keep racing into turn 1 and 2. So we'll see when that does come in.
The positive for Robbie as well is the other option race control could have given him was a 5-second penalty, which actually would be a more severe penalty for him. So forcing him to redress is actually a better penalty for him than getting a 5 or 10-second penalty. He's only going to lose 2.5 seconds in actual track time, and then you continue the battle. And being teammates with Capel, you would think that they're not going to race too aggressively. Look at that. Capel does fight it a little, but thinks, nah, Robbie, you're quicker, you better go through. Interesting too, remember we said at the start of the night, top 8 invert. Have a look where 8th position is. 8th and 9th is the battle for Pro-Am victory right now. And Ryan Jones is struggling, obviously has some damage because Hayden Veld, Harry Lawrence and Sam Sproul have all caught him. And Mazomo's starting to break away.
Yeah, it looks like Mazomo is in that box seat for that 8th position and a potential pole position for race number 2 here tonight. Remember, all 3 races tonight, 15 laps or 25 minutes, depending if we do get any safety car periods. Hopefully not. We're clean and green so far. We're about halfway through race number 1 so far, and here comes Hayden Veld down the inside, has a little look down the inside, turn away of Ryan Jones, won't get the move done. Sproul, he's all over the back of Harry Lawrence. This is the battle for position number 11 on track, so it's still not over for position number 8. If Hayden Veld can potentially clear Ryan Jones in the next lap or 2, he's probably got enough pace to try and run down Simon Mazomo, but it's going to be very interesting. But I'd still have Mazomo in the box here at the moment.
Well, Sproul also will be looking to gain some spots back too, because you remember he's
Sproul's just had it off.
Off there, and he's got Blacklock behind him, so we'll be hoping to gain some time back, but only just now coming up to the halfway point of the race. There's still plenty of racing left in this first of 3 races tonight. It's very, very interesting battles out there.
Yeah, certainly is, and Ryan Bettis, he's pulled out now just under 2 seconds lead, so he's continuing to stretch out that lead that last lap. He was only about 400s quicker than Matthew Bowler, so he's not pulling away too much, but it's just enough to eke out that gap little by little. And so far doing a terrific job. Like I said, I haven't seen him in the series so far. Potentially he's raced the last 2 races that I haven't been here. As Hayden Veld, he's had an off as well in behind Ryan Jones, so was there potential contact, or was it just an off from Hayden Veld?
That's definitely contact. Oh, Blacklock and Veld both in the wall now. So that's...
Oh, that was very ugly, Jay.
Very yucky incident, that one. And I can tell you that Hayden Veld has done the exact same thing as what we saw Sam Blacklock do. He's just run way too deep into turn 6, missed the braking zone, and gone straight ahead. And then the second part of the incident, well, yeah, I don't think it needs too much explaining. It's just, this is messy.
Yeah,
potential unsafe rejoin there, and then a bit of hip and shouldering, and both cars heavy into the wall, and both cars are now limping back to the pits.
Yeah, I don't think obviously the first part of the contact there, like you said, just a little bit too hot. The second part of the contact, I think probably both of them did something a little bit there, so we'll see what race control, if they do anything about that. It looks like they'll both have to come to the pits and get their cars repaired, so unfortunately those 2 guys are going to be a pretty tough night here on out. But just picking up again on the battle up front, Robbie Gibbs is starting to try and close the gap. And Corey Lazarus, remember, he did have that redress a couple laps ago. He doesn't quite have enough pace to try and get the move done. This is for position number 4 on track, and again, Jay, I might be calling it early, but it looks like it's a little bit tough to pass around here tonight.
Just also been reminded by race control that the second race will take place in morning conditions, and then the third race will take place in early afternoon. So we're going to have changeable conditions. So Could this be a little bit of a scope around tyres? Will we see a few drivers change tyre pressures and setups to tweak to make it a little bit better for getting the tyre to perform to their liking? But yeah, I can't believe how aggressive they are up there. It is really difficult to overtake. I'm surprised how tough it has been so far. I'm enjoying the racing, but yeah, it's really difficult. You see Gibbs there, so aggressive into turn 1, and then a little bit of contact through 2.
And down the inside, big bold move from Robbie Gibbs. A little bit of hip and shoulder on the exit of turn number 3. Lazarus back down the inside of 4. Going to be side by side on the exit of 5. Lachlan Capel sitting back there, trying to stay out of this fighting. This is fantastic racing here between Lazarus and Gibbs. Lazarus will go down the inside. Capel even has a look down the inside as well. Lazarus will have the spot. Oh no, they're both off the circuit. Lazarus has dropped back 2 positions. Again, it's number 2 contact between Lazarus and Gibbs. So those guys probably won't be sending each other Christmas cards in a few months' time.
They probably won't be having a chat with each other after the race. This has been probably a little bit too aggressive, and I'm sure race control are going to have a little look at what we're about to have another look at, because that was probably too aggressive for their liking, our liking, the drivers' liking as well. I don't know if you can put fault at either though, because they were just squeezing each other for too little room. I don't know who's at fault. I don't think either.
No, I don't think. I think that's just hard racing. They both affected themselves just as harshly. Probably Lazarus a little bit more. I think just play on from that. So, and in the background, Harry Lawrence and Samuel Sproul battling for position. It looks like Sproul has got that position for 10th overall over Harry Lawrence, who has been pretty competitive throughout the series, but seems to be really struggling and not adapting to this Roval circuit. And looks like Mazzomo has had enough. And now he's given the Pro-Am lead back to Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones carrying that damage, and Mazzomo has let him by. This is massive for Ryan Jones.
And don't forget too that not only is the Pro-Am lead, but it is the all-important overall 8th position. Why do we say that's important? P8 is where the reverse grid starts from. So with that change of position, next race, if it finishes as it is, Jones will start P1, Mazzomo will start 9th.
A big sway in the championship as well, if that were to happen. So sure, Mazzomo is going to get the head down. We've got, looks like just over 4 laps remaining, and he's going to try and hunt Ryan Jones down, try and get that spot back. There's a massive gap in front to Stuart Ellis, about 8 seconds. So we've got no one to worry about in front and really no one to worry about behind. It's just these two in a dogfight for the class win and one upper hand for the championship battle. There are 11 points separated coming into this round, so every position matters between these two.
And don't forget that we believe, we could be completely wrong, but we believe that Ryan Jones has got a little bit of damage from that contact with Harry Lawrence from his self-spin earlier. So this isn't over for this fight for 3 important factors in the night: the championship, the race position or the class win in this class, and of course reverse grid pole. Sam Sproul's also closing on these guys. Last lap by was 2 seconds faster than Mazzomo, so he could come and throw a big curveball in this one.
Yeah, Samuel Sproul not out of it whatsoever. Some really good pace on the recovery drive for the 606. Unfortunately had that contact earlier in the race, and he's been recovering from here. He'd love to get to 8th position and try and get back on the front row, because he will have enough speed to run up the front. So a lot of ground to make up as Mazzomo now on the rear bumper of Jones into 8. Looks like Jones, pretty good traction off the corner. It looks like he's just struggling on turning, especially at the hairpin. So that could be something dependent. It could be that damage as well. So Ryan Jones hanging on for now. This time by will be 3 laps to go, but still out in front. Actually, if we can go to the front, Jay, the gap has closed down a little bit, and here comes Robbie Gibbs down the inside of his teammate Lachlan Capel for 4th, very close on the exit of turn 2 there. Into 3, he'll get the job done, but Matthew Bowler is starting to close in on your race leader. The lead was about 2 seconds last time we checked, down to 1.2 now, so battle for the race lead isn't quite over yet either.
I've also just seen that Hayden Veld has been given a black flag for the incident with Sam Blacklock. It wasn't for the contact with Blacklock, it was for the unsafe rejoin. So we sort of thought that wasn't too good, and we were right. Speaking of potentially failing to give racing room, these guys are giving each other the absolute bare minimum side by side between Jones and Mazzomo.
This is absolutely fantastic between
for
these two guys. More importantly, this is for, like we've said, 8th for the pole in race number 2. Also between these guys, the Pro-Am class, and Samuel Spreller, he doesn't care about that. He just wants to get to 8th to try and start on pole. He's not racing these guys in the championship, and it's going to be a 3-way battle with just over 2 laps to go. This fantastic battling here between these 3 guys, Samuel Spreller and Harry Lawrence. He isn't too far out of the fight either if something was to happen.
These guys are probably fighting a little bit too aggressively now, and they've brought those guys into it. They maybe should have thought about going a little bit further. One thing to note there too, Mazzomo might be listening, because he's just taken what I suggested earlier. He's going a little bit further down the straight and evening off that bounce onto the oval out of the turn. So maybe that's what he's thinking about there. Also may have been serving a slowdown penalty, because look at how much of a gap now Ryan Jones has over him.
Yeah, it was a pretty poor exit off turn number 12 there, and through 11 as well from Mazzomo, and lost a lot of ground. So have to try and make that back up somehow. They're into turn number 6 now, the sharp right-hander, and he's still got a little bit to make up. On the screen, it's 0.7 of a second between them, and it's starting to run out of time for the 954 of Simon Mazzomo to try and get that all-important 8th and try and get some points back on Ryan Jones.
On the bottom of the screen, you can see the battle for the overall lead as well. It's down to 1.1 second. And the white flag is now in the air. Last lap for Ryan Bettes in the blackout OPR car as he sets the new fastest lap of the race as well.
Yeah, Ryan Bettes continuing to show the speed of 122.38. Even faster than what he did in qualifying, and Mazzomo's had another off, unfortunately, for the 954. He's going to lose 2 positions. Remember, these guys are scored on where they finish overall, so this is big for Simon Mazzomo. He just had a really high speed lose coming into turn number 9, Jay.
Yeah, big lose there, and he's lucky to have not driven into the pit lane by mistake, which would have cost him a lot more time back to the front of the field. Half a lap to go for Ryan Bettes. Got to get back onto the oval. The bowler's just trying to distract him a little bit in the mirrors with the little swerve down the straight.
Yeah, trying to get in his head a little bit, but it looks like Ryan Bettes is pretty safe at the moment. Just a few corners remaining for the 033 for blackout OPR. Gaps down to 0.9 of a second, but barring no mistakes, he should be home and hose through here. Through turn number 10, and now through 11 and 12 for the final time here in race number 1. It's going to be Ryan Bettes for blackout OPR, taking out the race number 1 victory here at Homestead, Miami. Matthew Bowler very close second, not much in it between them right there, just 0.8 of a second. Dylan Shepherd will come home in third. Robbie Gibbs and Lachlan Capel ran at the top 5, and more importantly, Ryan Jones coming through the final complex of corners in position number 8. Keep it on the track, Ryan. 2 corners to go, and he will get through turn number 12.
Oh, no.
Oh, he had a slight disconnect there. My heart sank there for 2 moments, but Ryan Jones will finish 8th. Importantly, he'll get points on Simon Mazzomo for the championship, and probably even more importantly, he'll start on pole for race number 2 here tonight. And Dean Jacobson coming down the front straight, 13th overall, and he will pick up the M-Class victory here for race number 1, Jay.
Last couple of drivers to get to the line will be Dan Mirko and Nathan Wilson. But overall, well done from those guys. Well done to make it through. Tough circuit, tough night of racing. We're about to finish the twilight and we'll get into the morning for race number 2. When we get into race number 2, I'm going to step out as well because we've been joined by the legend Reece Gardner as well. But we'll quickly go through the results, remembering that the top 8 of these positions will invert. Bettes, Bowler, Shepherd, your podium from Robbie Gibbs, Lachlan Capel, Corey Lazarus, Stuart Ellis, Ryan Jones, who will start on pole. Then Sam Sproul and Harry Lawrence rounding out the 10. The rest of the drivers, Mazomo in 11th in the end, and that result will swing another 8-point advantage to Ryan Jones in the championship for Pro-Am. Lee Kadoulis and then Dean Jacobson wins the Am class over Liam Jensen, Dan Mirko and Nathan Wilson. And then we've got Hayden Veld and Sam Blacklock. Both did not finish the race in the end. I'm going to step out. Big hello and welcome to Reece Gardner.
Hello everybody. This has turned into quite the interesting setup for the feature, Brady. This top 8 is going to be very interesting indeed. Big swings throughout all of the points-paying positions in that one.
Yes, certainly, Reece. It was a pretty wild race with lots happening as we'll quickly go through the grid for race number 2 here tonight. Ryan Jones and Stuart Ellis will share that front row. Corey Lazarus, Lachlan Capel will share row 2. Corey Shepherd, Roby Gibbs and Dylan Shepherd will share row number 3. Matthew Bowler and Ryan Bettis, they'll go off row number 4. Samuel Sproul, Harry Lawrence, Simon Mazomo, Lee Kadoulis, Jacobson, Jensen, Mirko, Wilson, Veld, Blacklock. They all start as they finished in race number 1. 15 laps on the board once again, and this track's providing a fair few challenges for these drivers so far.
Yeah, Homestead Miami Speedway, I think, is one of the more underrated combined road and oval circuits here, and it certainly provides a lot of great overtaking opportunities, particularly considering that we're not using the oval 3 and 4 section. Very twisty indeed through the first couple of corners and down to that final chicane. The curbs are quite brutal here, as I'm sure the drivers have already found out in the first race. Yeah,
certainly the tyre bundle at the final corner, turn number 12, has certainly got a few out, and Harry Lawrence said in the server between race number 1 and 2 that he hit the old tyres and had 10 degrees of steering damage, so he wasn't having too much fun in that last race. So tip to any guys, they're in this race, don't hit the yellow tyre barriers on the exit of the last corner, because it's not going to be a good time for you.
Nah, certainly not. We got to be very careful also of losing the rear end into a lot of these corners. I'm sure that the drivers have had a lot of experience trying to get it slowed down for turn 1 especially. The first real corner. The turn 1 coming off the oval, you're on the brakes all the way through. But I'll tell you what, we got to stop our waffling on and get ready to go here, because the revs are rising and we're getting ready to go with Ryan Jones starting on pole position for race 2. AOG Porsche Cup race 2 here at Homestead is go. And I'm seeing a really good start further back in the field from Ryan Bettis, already right on the back of Matthew Bowler as they come into turn 1 for the first time. Jones is able to turn in for the second corner lovely and cleanly. It's side by side all the way through the midfield though, Brady.
Yes, nice and clean so far through the first couple of corners, just like race number 1, side by side, position number 3 between Stuart Ellis and Robbie Gibbs. So it looks like Gibbs on the attack early. He's already got 2 positions off the start into position number 3, and side by side now into turn number 6 between Bowler and Ellis. Bowler get the position, and side by side on the exit between Lachlan Capel and Bettis, and Bettis steps the rear end out just a little bit. Good save there. The 033 will hang on to position number 7 for now, but he's got his teammate Dylan Shepherd keeping him intact.
Yeah, giving him a little bump in the rear as well. He's trying on Lachlan Capel, but there's nothing he can do. It's all about the exit from this hairpin. You need good traction for a good run back onto the oval. It's looking quite interesting here for Corey Lazarus especially, as he has gone into the lead after starting third, gradually working his way past Stuart Ellis and Ryan Jones. Good stuff there. Now we'll get ourselves to the end of the first lap. Try your best not to lose it on the transition onto the oval. It is quite brutal. Corey Lazarus leading the way at the end of lap 1.
More importantly, we'll touch on again Ryan Jones. He is not racing these guys for the championship, as he hasn't off. I've cursed him, unfortunately, on air. Ryan Jones has gone off. He's gone from 2nd. He's probably going to rejoin in 5th, potentially behind Lachlan Capel. I was about to touch on, he's not racing these guys for the championship. All he needs to keep doing is beating Simon Mazomo, who's down in position number 9 at the moment. So he's doing the right thing so far. He just needs to keep it on the track. Updating the format once again. This is race number 2 of the night, 15 laps or 25 minutes. If we do have safety car intervention, we might be going close to Thompson. And this was a reverse top 8, and importantly to remember, top 6 invert for the final race, and that's currently occupied by Dylan Shepherd.
Yep, certainly is. So Shepherd will want to try and keep Sam Sproul behind him. They're technically teammates at Blackout OPR, so we'll see if team orders come into it. Robbie Gibbs chasing down Corey Lazarus for the lead of the races. It looks like Nathan Wilson has jumped into the pit lane. Not entirely sure why. Might be some damage there, or a bit too much damage, or a hardware failure, because he is just manually disconnected from the server. We have lost Nathan Wilson in car 311, but across the start finish line we come. Gibbs still harassing the back of Corey Lazarus here. In the top 3 have broken away. Matthew Bowler is right with these two. The two ERT cars chasing down the Blackout OPR 404. Let's see if there are any moves made on this lap.
Well, Gibbs and Lazarus come together twice in race number 1. Yes, Reese, twice. So there's a little bit of bad blood potentially. I was saying to Jay, they're probably going to send each other Christmas cards in a few months' time. So we'll see if they can keep it friendly here for race number 2. But Matthew Bowler, championship leader, he's not far away either. So usually 3-way battle for the race lead at the moment, as it's Capel, Jones and Shepherd in behind. But this battle for the lead is going to be turning it on very shortly, I think.
Oh, yeah. You can see the doors being left open by Lazarus into the hairpin, and there's the big dive from Robbie Gibbs, but he's gone way too deep. He just overshoots it, but the door is still open briefly for Matthew Bowler. Lazarus keeps the lead, though. Outside line, good exit, and he's able to keep it. I think Robbie Gibbs will be regretting the decision to break that late. We'll see if he has anything to fight back with, if he's burnt up his front tyres or not. Over the curbs in this brutal final sector of the track. Who gets the best run out of the chicane? Looks like, for a brief moment it was Lazarus, but he suffered a bit of oversteer, and that's going to allow Matthew Bowler to get alongside him on the way into turn 1. Here we go then. Don't want to run side by side through here. Lazarus yields to Bowler, gets on the brakes nice and late. Here comes Robbie Gibbs. Almost washes out into Lazarus, but pulls it up just in time.
Very good moves there from both the ART drivers. That mistake from Gibbs didn't fade him too much. He sent it down the inside at turn number 3 and got the move done. So Lazarus has quickly gone from first back to third. So fortunately for him, he's got a bit of catch-up work to do and potentially have a bit of pressure from behind in another ERT car, Walker Gable. But in the background, Sproul Bettis, he hasn't really moved forward too much. Ryan Bettis, our race 1 winner, still in position number 7. And Mazzomo has actually gotten ahead of Ryan Jones. Potentially a mistake from Ryan Jones in the last lap or so that we haven't picked up on. I've just actually looked at it, Reese. Start of lap number 2, he's he's just ran wide once again. And unfortunately, he's just had another off Ryan Jones. I should stop talking about Ryan Jones. I've cursed him 3 times in one race.
He who must not be named, who drives the number 11. Yeah, this is what happened. That's what happened to him there. He already lost the position to Bettis across the line, and then ran wide in turn 3, and Simon Mazzomo just slipped on by him. So now Jones, who started on pole position, remember? Oh, he's going to the pits, is he? That's such a shame. Yeah.
Left front damage, pretty severe. Sorry to cut you off, Reece. Pretty severe left front damage for Ryan Jones. So, fortunately, this is going to really ail his race. And we touched on he gained, 8 points back on Mazzomo in that last race. And at the moment, I'm trying to do the math, and he's going to be losing 20 to 30 points. So it's going to be a good race number 2 here for Ryan Jones.
No, there you go. Not.
Oh, my. It was a tyre bundle.
Oh, that's a big ouchie. Yeah, that's destroyed the front left suspension there. That's the thing with the tyre bundles at this circuit. They're quite low, aren't they? They only come halfway up the cars. So if you end up hitting one, it doesn't... it's a bit more tempting to run close to them than it is, say, at like Alton Park, for example, where the tyre bundles are very tall and easy to see. They're not like that here.
No, it's probably an easy mistake to do. I've made the mistake whenever I raced on the circuit before too. So we've already seen it in race number 1. We've seen it once again. So unfortunately for Ryan Jones, And by my quick maths, he's going to lose 24 points to Simon Mazzomo. Coming into the round, it was 11 points. After race 1, we worked out it was about 18 points, and now it's going to be 24. So Mazzomo will be 6 ahead on my maths after this race. So the championship is going toe-to-toe in the Pro-Am category. As on screen, Samuel Sproul and Ryan Bettis battling for position number 6 with their fellow Blackout OBR teammate, Dylan Shepard in position number 5. Bettis, after that race 1 win, not really making too much inroads in race number 2 out.
Yeah, de facto leader of One Performance Racing is Dylan Shepard, so he's certainly got a good amount of control over this group at the moment, being chased down by Mazzomo and Ellis behind them, and that is the top 9 rounded out. The top 4 broken away from these guys, as you can see. They're just those little specks in the distance. That's Lachlan Capel and Corey Lazarus back there. So keep your eyes peeled on them for more action on the way out of the hairpin. No big moves being made between the OPR cars, but it looks like Sproul's run a little bit wide there. That has allowed Ryan Bettis by. You're able to run over that white line and quote-unquote cut to the corner a little bit there on your way back onto the oval. This could open up an opportunity for Mazzomo to get by.
And more importantly, Ryan Bettis, position number 6, and that will turn into pole position for race number 3. So we inverted the top 8 after race number 1, and after this race we'll invert the top 6. So Ryan Bettis sitting in that important 6th spot at the moment, but he might have a bit of pace to burn and potentially catch his teammate Dylan Shepard, but up a little bit further ahead, Lachlan Capel putting the pressure on Corey Lazarus, trying to make it an ERT podium sweep, but at the moment Lazarus just hanging on. Looks like Capel's got a little bit more pace to burn.
Yeah, looks like it. Let's see what Lachlan will be able to do on this lap. Managed to take 0.14 of a second out of Corey Lazarus on the previous lap. And Robbie Gibbs was actually the fastest car on track last lap, also getting the fastest lap of the race. 1:12.4, 1:22.4 is now the pace being set. So keep an eye out for Gibbs as Capel looks up the inside of Lazarus. Corey sees him coming and runs wide. Over the curb, doesn't quite get the best of exits. And that will allow the red ERT number 8 alongside coming into the final sector. Will this be the move? Oh, there we go. Lachlan Capel sent off the circuit there. This is quite a difficult incident to pick apart already, because Corey Lazarus was turning in for the corner as you would expect, but there was just a little bit of overlap between himself and Capel. Capel's front right was alongside the rear left of Lazarus at the turn-in point, and from Capel's perspective, Lazarus turned in on him. From Lazarus's perspective, I think he was expecting Capel to turn in a bit earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how race control deal with this one, because by my point of view, I don't know if Capel's up far enough to warrant overlap, but every rule book is different, so we'll have to see what happens between there. But man, Corey Lazarus is going to be sick of dealing with the ERT guys. It raced them so hard. Fortunately, that's another run-in. Now, a couple of run-ins with Gibbs earlier on, and now Lachlan Capel is, speaking of Robbie Gibbs, got the wipers on despite a nice sunny day here in Florida, down the inside of Matthew Bowler and to the race lead.
Yep, trade for the lead between the ERT guys, and you see that Gibbs is...
No, he doesn't have a slow down, sorry. Thought he had a slow down there.
He was running to the very limits. We're hearing an iRacing black flag for Lachlan Capel, and I'm not entirely sure what that's for. Potentially for cutting along the oval. He went so far off the track, I think, that iRacing triggered him as having cut the course quite a bit. But race control have just cleared his black flags, so Lachlan will escape any further wrath from that, but still, he's fallen all the way down to 10th spot when he was fighting for a spot on the podium earlier, and Dan Mirko is the next driver to have a problem.
Unfortunately, Dan Mirko is going off the circuit there, and he'll drop in now behind Dean Jacobson, so that was for the lead of the AM category, and Dean Jacobson gets to move Harry Lawrence and Lachlan Capel now. They're fighting for position number 9 on the circuit. Capel has had that massive off About 2 laps to go. He's on the recovery. Tries to have a quick glance down the inside into turn number 6. Not quite close enough to get that done. So, importantly, Simon Mazzomo, very good points for him. Position number 7 for the Pro-Am Championship with Ryan Jones down in 17th. Dean Jacobson, we spoke pre-race with the 2 guys in front of him as Lachlan Gable gets down the inside, locks up, runs wide. He's going to lose a couple of spots there to Lawrence and Liam Jensen in 36-2. So, race is not going too well there for Lachlan Gable.
Yeah, I've seen a few drivers do that in this race. They've just braked too deep into that hairpin, and I mean, it's really tempting to go for the outbrake when you're coming into that hairpin, but it's so easy to overshoot. It's so slow. I think everyone just needs to calm down a little bit. I know these races are only short, and you know it's a sprint night, but just cool things down a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I think just the sprint format brings that out just a little bit as well, and everyone's very aggressive tonight. We've seen some pretty bold moves all throughout the field from first down to 18th, so it's all going on. But in front, Robbie Gibbs looks pretty comfortable, 1.5 seconds over his teammate Matthew Bowler, who did have to serve a slowdown about a lap and a half ago. So, and he's in the clutches of Corey Lazarus potentially for that second spot. But Ryan Bettis, he looks pretty comfortable. He's actually into 5th now with that mistake from Cable. So now Samuel Sproul, he's in that 6th spot for the invert, but Simon Mazzomo is actually closing in on him, the Pro-Am class leader, closing in on Samuel Sproul for this 6th spot. This could be huge in terms of the championship for Simon Mazzomo if he can get this one more spot.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, all the classes are competing for the same points in this championship. There's not much to really separate them when it comes down to it. If you can finish a long way ahead of the nearest rivals in your class, put a few other class cars in between you, and that's just more net points for you all up because you're getting a better overall position. That's huge for Mazzomo. If he can get a top 6, then he'll be very happy with this. But for the time being, looks like he hasn't quite nailed the exit of the final turns there, and Stuart Ellis will try and round him up again.
Yes, Stuart Ellis try and catch back up to Mazzomo. This is a good fight though for position number 6. Samuel Sprout just hang on to it for now. Ryan Bettis, again the race 1 winner, struggling to get through the field. Robbie Gibbs is up +4, +5 for Matthew Bowler. Ryan Bettis only +3, so struggling just a little bit to get through the traffic, and he'll stay on the front row for race number 3 if he finishes as he is, but still probably not quite the progress I thought he would make.
Yeah, not quite indeed. I think this has been a real up and down round for quite a few drivers as they make their way into the hairpin once again. Sproul still holding on crucially to that potential race 3 pole position. We'll see what Stuart Ellis can do to catch up to Simon Mazzomo here. Only 4 laps to go, or thereabouts, up the front. Matthew Bowler continuing to run stable in 2nd place as Robbie Gibbs completes the 11th lap of the race.
Yeah, just 4 laps to go for the race lead. Robbie Gibbs leads actually down to 1.1 seconds. Matthew Bowler took out 0.4 of a second that last time by, and we've just had a penalty come through. Corey Lazarus has a 10-second time penalty for contact with Lachlan Cable. So, it turns out Corey Lazarus has been penalised for turning in early, and I mean, race control's made the decision, but I'm not sure if I 100% agree on that one, Reese.
Yeah, that's a difficult decision to work out. Like I said when it happened, like, Cable, I think, had enough overlap to be entitled to some space, but again, if you're Corey Lazarus, you know, you're turning in on a trajectory that's designed to leave him space through the corner, and if he still hasn't turned in by the time you do, then the only thing that can happen is for you to come together.
Yeah, 100%. I think, honestly, that was probably just a racing deal more than anything. So it's a little bit surprising that Lazarus does have that penalty. And by my maths, he's going to finish about position number 9 at the moment, where Harry Lawrence is, and he's battling Lachlan Cable. So it's definitely going to hurt Corey Lazarus. Probably a fortunate one that He'll finish third on the road, so he'll get to still start the front, but his points will have him finishing down there as Hayden Veld has also had it off. He was running position number 12 and looks like he's coming to the pits as well, so potential damage for the 53 as well.
Yeah, I'm not seeing much of it on the front, but you never know. We might grab a replay before the race ends and see if anything happened to him there. So Hayden will become the third car to visit the pit lane for damage tonight, in race 2 at least. For now though, less than 3 laps to go. For those up the front, Dylan Shepherd and Ryan Bettis, they're still trying to hold off Sam Sproul. Meanwhile, here's what happened to Hayden, and no surprise to see once again big left hand down thanks to clobbering those treacherous tyre bundles at the final chicane.
Yeah, unfortunately, another victim to the tyre bundles at the last corner. Hayden Veld looks like it's going to probably pull it in for the race. There's only a couple of laps to go, so he's going to probably sit this one out and hopefully come back out for the final race of the night. So Mazomo is still pressuring Samuel Sprout for this 6th position, and importantly, once again, we'll touch on it, this 6th spot will start on pole position for the final 15 lapper of the night. Got 2 laps to go this time by Mazomo. He's got some really good pace, again 2/10 quicker that lap, 2/10 quicker than Samuel Sprout. The gap just under 4/10. Mazomo really wants this spot to try and improve his championship standing against Ryan Jones.
Yeah, indeed, and with Ryan coming into the pits for damage, this is potential for huge profit for Simon Mazomo. So let's see what he can do in these last 1.5 laps of this race. Just needs to be careful of the outbraking at the hairpin. Ellis has been rounding up the pace quite a bit. But having said that, Ellis ran about 4/10 slower than Mazomo on the last lap, so I think there's still a little bit left to fight with for Mez. But for now, who has the traction? If this was running the oval layout, then we'd be talking about Ellis potentially getting the slipstream on Mazomo. But for now, it's all about mechanical grip and who can outbrake whom.
Yeah, still he won't get too much of a benefit on the short back straight on this layout, and Robbie Gibbs has gotten the white flag for the final lap of race number 2. Holds a 1.3 second lead over his teammate Matthew Bowler. Corey Lazarus sits in third, but remember he does have that penalty over his shoulder, so looks like at the moment he'll probably drop to position number 8 by the looks of it, just where Stuart Ellis is. So the fight is still on though for position number 6, the all-important invert position. Simon Mazomo is hounding the rear of Samuel Sprout. There's nothing between them. Will Mazomo go for a big move, or will he think big in terms of the championship? He's got massive points over Ryan Jones already in this race. Will he just sit back and take what he can get?
Yeah, do you attack or do you defend? Do you try and consolidate your position, or do you try and bring it up by 1? Sometimes it's very easy to make the wrong decision there. I get the feeling Mazomo is going to just try and preserve, and I think that is the right decision personally at this point. Ellis just running wide behind, and I think that's going to put paid to that battle, but also over is the battle for the win. Robbie Gibbs, despite losing the fastest car on track title to Matthew Bowler on the last lap, still has the fastest lap of the race, and now has the win in race 2. Beautiful job from Robbie Gibbs there. And as the rest of them come across the line, Mazomo will ultimately finish in 7th behind Bettis and Sproul. Good points all.
Yeah, fantastic points all for Mazomo in P7 there, and looks like Ryan Jones, he's going to finish in P15, so definitely a good result in terms of his championship. And on board here, Dean Jacobson doing all he needs to do tonight with his championship rivals not in the race tonight in Adam Jepson and Ben Jeffrey, and he'll pick up the class win and a 14th overall. So Dean Jacobson doing all the right things to try and make the championship ever so closer going to the final round in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, good stuff. The series is rapidly building up to a very intense climax, so make sure that you stay with us here on SimSpeed TV for the conclusion of the AOG Porsche Cup in a couple weeks' time. But we still have one race left tonight to run. And this race was won by Robbie Gibbs, Matthew Bowler and Corey Lazarus, completing the podium, but on the road, I think that 10-second time penalty is going to put him a little bit further back. Dylan Shepherd and Sam Sproul crossed the line in 4th and 5th, with Bettis finishing ahead of our Pro-Am winner, Simon Mazzomo. Stuart Ellis, Lachlan Capel, and Harry Lawrence finishing just behind. Jensen, Blacklock, Kaldulis, Jacobson, and Jones rounding out our top 15. Jones with massive damage. Same for Hayden Veld, and we believe Nathan Wilson as well. It's a real shame for all three of those drivers. But for now, Brady, that's going to conclude the first 2/3 of the night's action. Another 15-lapper with the top 6 inverted, ready to go. Sam Sproul, or actually with the Bettis, it looks like. Yeah, Bettis is going to start on pole for race 3, so there's potential here for his night to be turned around.
Yeah, certainly looking to potentially another race win after that race 1 victory. Couldn't do too much in that second race, but he'll be looking to take another one and try and maybe take out the round honours for tonight, Reese.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we're going to step aside briefly here on SimSpeed TV. You're watching the AOG Porsche Cup from Homestead, Miami Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You're watching SimSpeed TV, the penultimate round of the AOG Porsche Cup for 2024 here at Homestead, Miami Speedway. Some very interesting racing indeed to come out of the first 2 races so far, and this is the grid for the third and final race of the night. Bettis and Sproul are going to be your front row OPR locking it out. In fact, it's going to be a front 2 rows lockout for OPR with Dylan Shepherd and Corey Lazarus starting in 3rd and 4th. Matt Bowler and Robbie Gibbs start in 5th and 6th. That is your inverted top 6 from race 2. Simon Mazzomo and Stuart Ellis will be on our 4th row of the grid. Then we move to 9th and 10th. It's going to take the form of Lachlan Capel and Harry Lawrence. Liam Jensen and Sam Blacklock going to be 11th and 12th. And then Lee Kildoulis in the number 5 alongside Dean Jacobson in the number 10. Ryan Jones will be looking for some kind of redemption here after suffering some damage in race 2, starting alongside Dan Mirko. It's going to be the same for Hayden Veld and Nathan Wilson, who share the 9th row of the grid. And finally, Jacob Lucas, who hasn't taken to the start in any of the races tonight, has been in the session though. Nick Carroll, the last kart to start the race here. Bit of a smaller field than what we're used to, Brady, but I'm looking forward once again to what should be an action-packed sprint.
Yeah, we've had a lot going on, despite we were just talking off air. Not quite a lot of passing. We'll talk about that in race 1 with Jay. A little bit difficult to pass there, so we've had a few at turn 3, turn 6, and a lot of action at the hairpin, but a lot of fouled and botched attempts as well. So it's going to be very interesting, and I reckon the points for the overall round is going to be pretty close. If Ryan Bettis can get this win, 2 wins and a 6, will probably put him in pretty good stead. But Matthew Bowler has 2 second places, Robbie Gibbs a 4th and a 1st, so it's going to be pretty close for the round honours in pro category. It looks like probably Mazomo's going to be looking pretty good for the pro-am, as we're a couple seconds away from greeneries.
Indeed we are. Let's get ready then. Round 7 of Season 9 here. Speedway. The revs rise once again, and we begin. Final 15-lap race. That was a poor start there from Dylan Shepherd. He's getting swallowed up by the rest of the field. The ERT duo there of Matthew Bowler and Robbie Gibbs trying their best to get their way past him, and they're going to succeed coming into the first couple of turns. Inside to turn 1, you pretty much have the inside the whole way around to turn 3, but Shepherd fighting back nicely as Ryan Bettis has skipped away from the field at the moment. Further side by side here with looks like further back Hayden Veld trying his best to work his way past the race on horse cars of Jensen and Kildoulis, as now Mazomo gets past Harry Lawrence into the braking zone and moves himself a little bit further up after a start where he slid slightly backwards.
This very well could be a repeat of race number 1, where we do have Ryan Bettis off the front, and looks like he's got a pretty comfortable margin already through half a lap. So we've seen how good he was in qualifying, and obviously in race 1 struggled a little bit to get going in race number 2. It's Corey Lazarus right down the inside of the racetrack, protecting position number 3 there ahead of Matthew Bowler. Every position is important here up the front for the round honours, so Ryan Bettis doing all he can so far. He'll lead first up. There's a lot of battling in the background. Lawrence, Blacklock, Stuart Ellis, Hayden Veld. There's so much going on all throughout the field here at the start of race number 3 here, Reese.
Yeah, did you see what Blacklock did there as he was trying to fight off Hayden Veld? He did a massive move into the chicane. He was all over the curbs trying his best not to hit that tyre bundle, which has claimed quite a few victims tonight. Well, the battle for 3rd is certainly on. Corey Lazarus holding off Matthew Bowler. And the question is, how aggressive is Bowler going to be?
Yeah, we've seen Bowler put on a few pretty good moves here tonight. Oh, down the inside. He does make contact with Lazarus. Again, I'm going to touch on again. Corey Lazarus surely has to be getting a little bit racing all these ERT cars, and this has got an ugly, and Lazarus has spun out.
Tell you what, Blackout OPR and Evolution Racing Team are not going to be friends after this. Corey Lazarus falling down to lucky 13th position in time for the hairpin.
Oh, Gibbs.
Oh no! Oh, at the hairpin. He's off the racing line, fortunately. A lot of chaos here on lap 2. All of that chaos was started by Corey Lazarus having a big oversteer moment, and it was almost 4 wide there for a second, as Simon Mazomo is going to get into the top 5, passing Harry Lawrence there, coming into the final turns. This is great.
It was actually a mistake on Robbie Gibbs' own accord there, coming into the hairpin, just lost the rear on the exit, and unfortunately caused that little pile-up on the exit of turn number 8 at the hairpin, and it's definitely shuffled the order around so far on lap number 3 of this race. Sam Blacklock is plus 8. He's up in position number 4, but the top 3 is still unchanged. Bettis, Brown, and Bowler is in the background. Dylan Shepherd still fighting. He's down a little bit further in the field where he would like to be, along with some of his teammates Lazarus and Ryan Jones on the recovery as well. So bit of a jumbled up jumbled up order so far in race number 3. Races still plenty going on.
Yeah, we saw Dylan Shepherd there slithering off the track in turn 2, and it was a straight up overshoot there. This is what happened to Corey Lazarus. So Bowler goes for the move, and that's initially going to set Lazarus a little bit unsettled, and then he tries to keep it flat out through here, but just gets unsettled over the curb, and he gets on the brakes, which is the right thing to do, but he couldn't recover the car, and so unfortunately as Bowler sweeps through, he goes sliding off. Then there's Gibbs here, and he just gets on the power too hard. The tyres are cold on Porsche Cup cars in the first couple of laps. And once again, Robbie Gibbs finding that out the hard way, as many drivers have found out many times before.
He won't be the first, and he certainly won't be the last to make that mistake. We've already seen it tonight, and we'll see it in future rounds of this series as well. So, fortunately, it's probably going to knock him out of contention for the round win now, down in 14th position. It's all smooth sailing so far. The 033 of Ryan Bettis, a 1.4 now, second lead over his teammate Samuel Sproul. The Arcade OBR cars running 1 and 2. Bowler in P3 on the podium all night long so far, so doing a very good job. Ryan Jones trying to battle his way back through the field. He's +2, but still a long way from Simon Mazzomo for the Pro Championship.
There goes Corey Lazarus up the inside of Hayden Veld, and now we wait and see what he can do to try and grab that position. It's really difficult for Lazarus, though. He's got a lot of drivers to fight his way through, and Shepherd, his teammate, is going to try and battle his way through as well. Gets up the inside at the hairpin. The Blackout OPR cars have been very aggressive in the braking zones here, and we'll see if that helps them out any. Meanwhile, here's Veld and Ellis going to be side by side into the corner where Lazarus and Capel made contact in the last race. And there we go, contact in the braking zone. Veld gets spun off into the gravel trap, and it's going to be a tough recovery from here for the 53.
Unfortunately, Veld has been in the absolute wars tonight. He's literally had no luck whatsoever for the 53. He's going to be right in the back of the field. We're going to get another Bowler Media replay. So Veld has the inside through 9. They're side by side coming to 10, and just like looks like they sort of met in the middle, to be quite honest. And Anveld's slowing down quite considerably on the front straight, but he's just picking up speed now. So it looks like everything's okay on board the 53, other than being down in 16th place.
Yeah, good stuff then. Veld will at least be able to continue, but it'll be a tough fight for him back up. Lee Kildulis and Dean Jacobson are his next couple of targets. Gibbs is also making a recovery. He's just past Liam Jensen for 12th, and Matthew Bowler versus Sam Sproul now for the second spot on the podium. Ryan Bettis has had nothing to do with any of this drama. He is 2.5 seconds in the lead over Sam Sproul. We'll see if Matthew Bowler can help Ryan Bettis extend the lead a little bit there by getting in and amongst it with the 606.
Yeah, still plenty going on. Like just on Samuel Sprouse hanging on that second spot. Bowler has closed the gap quite considerably, down to half a second with a mistake from Sproul on that lap. So potentially Bowler going for his third straight P2 of the night, but he's still going to try and get past the 606. And this battling between these guys is just allowing Ryan Bettis to pull away, gap down 2.8 seconds for the 033.
Yeah, good stuff. There goes Lachlan Capel, though, past Harry Lawrence, and that was coming into turn 3. Out of turn 4, bit of camber on the inside of this corner, and it seems like it was a slightly better exit for Lawrence. This is how Capel got the move done. Lawrence just caught the grass a little bit in the braking zone for 3, and then allowed Capel up the inside very nicely. You see there was a little bit of a better exit for Lawrence from the corner, and he's going to continue fighting. And speaking of fighting, here's Sproul and Bowler again, the over-under for the number 12, and he gets a better exit out of the hairpin. He'll have the inside now for the kink coming into the final sector.
The championship leader flexing his muscles down the inside of Sproul, side by side. Sproul will let him go into the fast turn number 9, and Matthew Bowler will take that second position. Can he race down Ryan Bettis to lead 2.9 seconds? Will he have enough pace to try and close in? With nearly half race distance already in this final races. Stuart Ellis there back in position number 10. He's holding off Ryan Jones and Robert Gibbs on the recovery drive. He was down in 15th a couple laps ago. He's now passing Ryan Jones with a little bit of side draft and bumping down the front straight. He'll go to position number 11 now.
Yeah, certainly will. The recovery continuing for Robbie Gibbs. Ellis is his next target. And tell you what, not too far behind Shepherd, Lazarus, Lawrence and Capel as well. If Gibbs is able to pull this off, it'll be a mega recovery drive from his spin in the first couple of laps. Well, for now, the race falls back into a rhythm. And just as I say that, Lazarus caught the curb on the exit of that corner and he's lost all momentum. It looks like Ellis is going to get past him at least.
Yeah, unfortunately, a little mistake there for the 404. He's going to be under pressure. And Stuart Ellis is by Robbie Gibbs. He won't quite get the spot. And contact between Veld and the 066 of Ellis. We touched on that at turn number 10. No further action between those two drivers. Then it's a sensible call. It's just a bit of a hard racing deal.
Yeah, Veld, I think, according to race control, did not leave space on the way into the corner. Just, as you get on the brakes through that kink, you drift towards the outside of the corner anyway, and there's not much you can do to alter your trajectory. But yeah, if Veld had been maybe a little more conservative, they might both have gotten through that. But we'll continue on here as Ellis goes off out of turn 2. It's going to allow Lazarus and Gibbs alongside. Oh, got to be careful though, not to get too much understeer there. Here comes Ryan Jones. Jones is up 3 positions now after finishing down in 15th in the previous race. He's going to try and make it through again. Get on the power, and Ellis leaves him just enough room to sneak through.
Yeah, Ryan Jones again trying to recover as many points as he can. Try and stay in touch with Simon Mazzomo in the Pro-Am Championship. We keep touching on it, but it's so close in the points. Coming into the night, it was plus 11 to Ryan Jones, and after race 2 it was plus 5 to Mazzomo, and now Mazzomo in 5th, Jones in 11th. It's going to be another sway of points to Simon Mazzomo, so Ryan Jones needs every spot he can to try and make sure the Jimmy goes down to the final race in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, let's see how much further he can recover if he'll be able to get into the top 10. He's going to have an awful lot to work with here. There's Lazarus, just avoids spinning out of the final corner. It's not enough momentum though. A little bit of wheel spin, a little bit of the car unsettling. Going to allow Gibbs through into turn 1. Lazarus moves back to 10th.
Yeah, Lazarus down another spot. Robbie Gibbs, who's made a lot of spots up in the last couple of laps. And he had that big off. He was way down the order, and he's got a lot of speed on board. He's got past Lazarus now, but fortunately for him, 3 seconds up the road is Dylan Shepherd, so it's going to be quite an ask for Robbie Gibbs to try and run down that gap with only 6-7 laps remaining, but anything's possible because he's got a lot of pace on board that number 2 machine.
Lee Kildoulis, meanwhile, visiting the pits. Not quite sure why. He did get a slowdown earlier on in the race, so it looks like he might have gotten some damage, and he's come in to use his fast repair. So Lee Kildoulis now down in 17th, last car running on the circuit. Nathan Wilson did not take to the start, neither did Nick Carroll. So 2 cars down on previous races, only 17 left running. A small field, but the action has been aplenty.
Yeah, certainly. We touched on it in the warm-up race before this race. Certainly been plenty of action. Not a lot of
Lazarus
passing.
has spun again.
Unfortunately, yeah, Lazarus, he's really having a race to forget here in race number 3. It looks like he's done it all himself on the exit of the final corner on the transition to the banking. Fortunately, that is another spot for Ryan Jones, so Ryan Jones won't be complaining too much, but fortunately, Corey Lazarus on board with him. Yeah, just got very harsh transition. We'll be touching on it all night long. Fortunately, he's copped the raw end of it. Unfortunately, he'll lose 1 spot there to Ryan Jones, but he's right on the rear bumper again. He'll try and make that back as soon as he can.
And did he will. It's up to Jones to defend now. Ryan's gotten into the top 10. There'll be a good amount of points for him to try and minimize the damage from race 2 here. But Lazarus is looking very quick, and we've seen how aggressive he is on the brakes into this hairpin in particular. He has a look, but not quite close enough to get it done on Jones. Will stay ahead for a few more corners to come. And if they run side by side, that'll give all the advantage in the world to Stuart Ellis. See what he can do so far. Ellis finished 7th and 8th in the 2 races run so far. Right now, outside the top 10, so any recovery he can make will certainly be welcome.
Yeah, certainly. It's a nice, interesting battle to try and follow for the remainder of this race. Will be 5 laps to go when these guys cross the start-finish line. Obviously, Ryan Bettis, he crossed the finish line quite a while ago, about 15 seconds to be precise. He's got a 2.5 second lead. As down the inside will be Corey Lazarus to try and get that spot back on Jones. Jones in the rear bar just a little bit. Stuart Ellis will have a quick look down the inside of turn 3. Definitely he's not going to get it done there. Ryan Jones is a little bit vulnerable there. On the exit of 3 into 4 will hold on the position. So Jones back to 11th and Corey Lazarus back in the top 10.
Yeah, the issue there with that double hairpin at the start of the lap is, you know, you want to try and get to the inside as soon as possible to defend, but then that ruins your run down the straight. You saw that when Ellis lost a little bit of momentum versus Jones. This battle's starting to really creep up on us. This is the battle for 5th. Mazomo currently leads these 4. Then it's Capel, Lawrence, and Shepherd. Just up ahead, Sproul and Blacklock continuing to fight over the last spot on the podium. What can Dylan Shepherd do to make any kind of dent in this? The Blackout OPR cars have been really good on the brakes so far, but I think they're starting to just back off a tiny bit as the tyres heat up and the car gets into its rhythm. The weight shifts as the fuel burns off. Orbit drop bears Sam Blacklock having a little peek up the inside of Sam Sproul into turn 1, not able to get the run there. Mazomo, meanwhile, has lost 5th place to Lachlan Capel into the same corner.
Yeah, just on Blackout OPR quickly, Reece, it's been a fairly up and down night for those guys. Obviously, Ryan Bettis, at the moment, he's going to come away with 2 race victories here tonight, but guys like Samuel Sproul, Corey Lazarus, they've been in the wars tonight. A lot of it, unfortunately, with ERT drivers, so Bolo Media Replay, Capel down the inside at turn 2, very nicely done move there for the number 8, but very up and down night. A tale of 2 woes for the Blackout OPR cars, but they do still have one guy out in front and pretty well dominating this race. 2.1 second lead over Matthew Bowler. Yeah,
it's a little bit less of a lead than we've seen a few laps before. Remember, it was out to about 2.5 seconds. We've only got 3 laps to go when they get to the line next, so you never know. Bettis might fall into some trouble on the last lap or so, and Bowler might be able to sneak through for the win, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It's another 4 seconds or so back to this battle we're seeing here. That's a very aggressive exit there for Blacklock, and he almost gets into the wall. A more direct exit for Sam Sproul, and he will manage to defend for yet another lap here.
Yeah, Samuel Sproul hanging on to this 3rd spot. 3 laps to go in this race, but Blacklock looks very aggressive down the inside. Big bold move from the 215 of Blacklock. Will Sproul try and cross him back here? He attempted to, but he doesn't get quite enough drive off turn number 3, and Samuel Blacklock now onto the race 3 podium.
Yeah, good stuff from Sam Blacklock. Always count on him to be good in Porsches, and he's right amongst it now. Let's see if there's anything that Sproul can do here. Keep an eye on Harry Lawrence in this replay here. Something went on for him coming out of the corner. Oh, a little bit of oversteer just before the transition to the oval, and ultimately defending from Dylan Shepherd into the first corner. Shepherd just wasn't able to get alongside. And speaking of Blackout OPR cars being aggressive, Robbie Gibbs here trying to keep Dylan Shepherd behind him. Is there anything that can be done here? Gibbs continuing to march his way up through this field, up into 8th spot now. Further back, Ryan Jones, Stuart Ellis, and Liam Jensen. This is just outside the top 10.
Yeah, my apologies for doubting Simon. Robbie Gibbs, apologies. Said it would be pretty tough to try and chase down Dylan Shepherd. He's done that, and looks like he's potentially probably going to get Harry Lawrence with 2 laps remaining. So a lot of pace on board the number 2. Unfortunately, that one error's really cost him a really good result for this race and overall for the round. So great fireback from Robbie, nonetheless, up to position number 8, potentially 7 by the end of it, if he can get the move on Harry Lawrence. But Ryan Jones hanging on, trying to hang on to the back of Stuart Ellis for position number 11. Liam Jensen still right there as well. So still plenty of going on throughout the field, as this is Lawrence, Gibbs and Dylan Shepherd fighting. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big lunge from Gibbs at the hairpin here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. For the time being, how far back is he? He almost gets up to the back. I saw a tiny little bit of a rear end slide there from Harry Lawrence, but he's able to keep the Delta Sport car nice and stable on the exit. And he's going to have to defend like an animal on the very last lap. Here we are almost at the conclusion of this night of racing. It's been exciting as always in the AOG Porsche Cup. Ryan Bettes will lead across the line to begin the final lap of the race. And here comes Ryan Jones up the inside of Stuart Ellis. A little bit of contact on the way through, but he's on the inside for the final turn. There's no chance for a cutback there from Ellis, but there is a chance for a cutback from Liam Jensen. He'll get alongside Ellis coming into the first corner here. Is there anything that he can do? No, he has to back out before they get into turn 1. These 3 all together. This is the battle for 11th, and this is fantastic. It's like they're battling for the win.
Yeah, fantastic for Jones to get that move done. And further up ahead, Robbie Gibbs ran wide at turn number 2, so he lost that spot to Dylan Shepherd. He was going to go around the outside of Harry Lawrence, but unfortunately he down 1 spot, back down to 9th for Robbie Gibbs. We'll try and pick it up on, this is Sam Blacklock actually had a mistake.
Oh,
turn number
yeah.
2 race, so he's now lost that spot. Samuel Sproul now locking Capel down the inside of the hairpin. So there's another spot loss for Samuel Blacklock, down from 3rd to 5th in a blink of an eye. But up ahead, it's Ryan Bettes, the 033 for Blackout OPR, qualified on the front row here tonight. Won the first race after a fantastic start. Struggled a little bit in race 2, but he's rebounded very nicely to take the race 3 victory here tonight at Homestead Miami for round number 7 of the AOG Porsche Cup. Matthew Bowler across the line in second. There'll be Samuel Sproul over the line in position number 3. Capel and Blacklock round the top 5. Mazzoma in 6th, and Ryan Jones. Unfortunately, he's lost a few more spots as he... It looks like Ryan Jones has had a big slide. Unfortunately, Ellis had nowhere to go. 2 more positions lost for Ryan Jones, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is how it happened. He was ahead of Ellis and Jensen, but he just lost the rear end. Got some contact from Ellis after he had started sliding. And, oh man, the 2 positions he'd worked so hard to gain, he lost on the very last sequence of corners. But, man, Ryan Bettes, you can take nothing away from him. What a drive in race 3. Now, the question is, who's come away with the round win from this? Because Bettes has a win, a 6th, and another win. But Matthew Bowler finished 2nd in all 3 races tonight. As far as consistency goes, Bowler is the driver to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking at the little points table that been supplied by Daniel Yeaman, and 92 points across the board for Matthew Bowler, and Bettes will have 200-point races and then 68 for the 6th place. So I reckon it's going to be Bowler by not too much. So we'll try and get confirmation in just a minute. So Ryan Bettes, he will win either way. Race number 3 here tonight, 2.8 seconds over Matthew Bowler. Samuel Sproul on the race podium there. Lachlan Capel and Sam Blacklock rounding out the top 5. Simon Mazzomo will finish 6th overall, and the class win for Pro-Am. Harry Lawrence, Dylan Shepherd 7th and 8th. Robbie Gibbs and Corey Lazarus will round the top 10 here for race number 3.
Yep, finishing in 11th place, Stuart Ellis ahead of Liam Jensen and Ryan Jones. A fantastic battle between those 3 guys right at the end. Hayden Veld finishing in 14th. It's been a very tough night for the number 53. Dean Jacobson takes the AM class victory ahead of Lee Kildulis, who was ahead of Dan Mirko for the last finishers in this race. Looks like Mirko had a couple of issues himself. Wilson and Carroll did not take to the start, and that rounds out our night of racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, looks like we're going to have Matthew Bowler in the box with us to start things off here. Good job, Matt. Second in all 3 races tonight. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, not too bad. I would have hoped to go one better in at least one of them, but no, it's nice and consistent and definitely helping the championship. So that's what I've got my eyes on at the moment. I've finished second in that for so many years as well. So the 2s are haunting me.
Yeah, it definitely seems so. Difficult track tonight. It was tough to really make decisive moves, and the curbs and the tyre bundles were the big claimers here.
Oh yeah, for sure. First time I've ever driven this track, and honestly quite liked it. First 2 races were quite cool in temp, whereas the last one was quite hot, but you're absolutely right. The curbs are very hard to hit right, and the last tyre bundle can ruin your race if you just clip it too much. So yeah, very difficult to pass. Like you said, there's only 1 or 2 opportunities, and most of the time it's over and unders or switchbacks or anything like that. But yeah, really good track. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I bet you're going to enjoy Sebring as well, a classic circuit to round off the season here. The suspension is going to get a workout.
Oh yeah, for sure. The car doesn't turn as is, so it's going to be difficult to get it turning in the high speeds. But yeah, I'm sure we'll give it a red hot crack and hopefully come out on top.
All right. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Matt?
Yeah, I'll just thank the guys at ART for all their support, and all the guys who raced tonight. Robbie, Lockie, Hayden, all of them. Obviously AOG, Dan and Tom, they put countless amounts of hours into this series, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And obviously to you guys for taking the time out of your night to broadcast and commentate. It's a huge effort.
Big effort from you as well. Matthew Bowler, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we get a chance to chat to you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks, Reece.
That was Matthew Bowler there, the round winner in the Pro class. As far as the Pro-Am class goes, Eddie, Simon Mazomo taking the top honours.
Mez, first off, congratulations, mate, on class win tonight. Very, little bit of an up and down night for you, but very much up in the second half of the night. Very good results in race 2 and 3. Tell us about your night.
Well, first race was a bit of that was a stuff up, so yeah, just sort of didn't get as good a first lap, but I managed to get past Ryan and then was comfortable pulling away. And I was just saying to Dean in the chat, I second guessed myself a little bit, and I was running a bit more front bias than what I normally do, just because the track sort of didn't feel as grippy, and I just pinched fronts going into that turn 1, and just lost the position that way. So readdressed it, had a little bit of a tinker with the setup for the race 2 and 3, and yeah, it was probably more luck than anything else. Like, just Ryan got caught up on the curb in that second race, and yeah, I just sort of stayed out of trouble and bagged the points.
We're talking all night long about there was so much action happening on track, although probably not as much passing, but there was a lot of attempted passes here tonight. A lot of them were bodged and weren't successful. What was the biggest challenge for you tonight on this circuit, where you've seen the transition from turn number 12 onto the front straight be a real talking point, as well as that tyre bundle on turn 12? So what was probably the biggest weakness for you tonight here at Homestead Miami?
Probably the last half of the circuit, I think. The first half I felt a lot stronger, but the last half, like especially against Ryan, that last half of the circuit I just wasn't quite as strong, and against a few others it was the same thing. Just mainly getting the rear grip. Like, it's a weird track. You run less wing than you normally would on tracks like these, because it's just the way that the track is. So you're sort of like hunting for rear grip all the time, and just, yeah, that was sort of the hard bit. Through that fast section, that's sort of where the trouble was. Just car was probably moving around a little bit too much for my liking, but yeah, it was not too bad. I'd done a fair bit of practice leading into it, so yeah, it wasn't too much of a struggle, I guess. But yeah, most of the battling was pretty good anyway, so I know all the guys I was racing against were sort of pretty good. So yeah, it was just more me battling myself than anything else.
Well, for the finale in 2 weeks' time, we do head to the classic Sebring. So we say in North America, but very different circuit, but also a very challenging circuit, just like tonight. So what are your thoughts, expectations, and what are the challenges about getting around Sebring?
Well, the good thing is I did GSRC there a couple of weeks ago and had a decent result. So I've still got Sebring sort of a bit fresh in my mind. So we should go okay there. Obviously, championship picture looks a bit different, but yeah, look, I'm not focusing too much on the championship. If it comes my way, it comes my way. Tonight I just wanted the round win. I'll be honest, I wasn't caring about the championship. I just wanted a round win, and but yeah, we'll see how we go. I just not going to put pressure on myself or think that we can can do good. Ryan's going to be there, like it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy. So yeah, just do what I've done so far. Just get my head down and just not make mistakes.
Well, we can confirm provisionally you are now plus 29 ahead of Ryan heading into the final round. So going to be a pretty cool battle to see you guys go at it for the Pro-Am Championship in 2 weeks' time. But before we let you go, Simon, anyone you would like to thank for tonight's result?
I'll quickly pull up the sponsor list. Yeah, just big shout out to obviously you guys, AOG, for putting it all on, Ryan for that awesome racing, especially race one. That was awesome fun with him. Got into each other a little bit, but loved it. Big thanks to Racecraft, Turn In Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Years, Prestige Cinematography, all the boys at 9.5 for always giving me the encouragement I need, and yeah, well, thanks a lot.
Nice to talk to you again, once again, Simon. Hopefully we can talk to you in 2 weeks' time.
No worries, thanks, mate.
Simon Zome, our round winner for the Pro-Am category, and race, looks like you've caught up with our AM class victor here tonight, Dean Jacobson.
Yeah, good night for you, Dean. The number 10 car finishing in the midfield for the most part, but still more than enough points to get the AM class victory and grab yourself a bit more of an advantage over your main rivals who weren't here tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. There's a few people missing tonight, so made it a bit easier than normal, but yeah, was able to get a couple points tonight, so definitely take that heading into the last round.
Certainly pulled on the chaos this round here. Any big moments that you counted as lucky escapes there with the amount of chaos we saw?
I don't know if I had too many lucky escapes. There were a couple incidents here and there, especially going 3 wide on the backstretch into that fast left-hander. That was a bit spicy, but yeah, no, I was able to keep it clean, so I think that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Sebring is certainly going to turn things up here, and we're expecting your main championship rivals to be back there. What are you expecting?
Yeah, hopefully we got a full class for that round. It is a pretty popular track, so we'll see how we go. We'll crack on, and yeah.
All right. Congratulations once again, Dean. Is there anyone you give a shout out to?
Just quick thanks to the sponsors, GTIT, B Electrical, Pacnian and Gamesmen, and just everyone back at the team. And of course you guys at AOG and SimSpeed, always doing a cracker job.
All right, see you at Sebring, Dean. And going into the final round, you are the leader of the AM Class Championship. So best of luck. See how things go.
Yeah, cheers, boys. See you then.
Dean Jacobson there, rounding out our driver interviews for tonight. In 2 weeks' time, Brady, we go to Sebring to round off this championship. Man, there's an awful lot to decide here. Can Bowler get the Pro Championship? Simon Mazzomo with a big advantage over Ryan Jones for Pro-Am, and Dean Jacobson scoring 126 points tonight to lead the AM Class Championship going into the final round. Man, this is going to be big.
Yeah, it looks like I'm just trying to look at the points coming in tonight. So if Adam Jepson races at Sebring for the AM class, it's going to be very, very close between him and Dean Jacobson for that championship. Obviously, Mazzomo and Jones, we touched on it. It's only 29 points there. And I think with Bowler's results tonight, he's probably just turned up and not DNF any races, and he's probably looking very good for the championship. So either way, it's going to be very interesting and very good racing. I've always liked Sebring. I'm probably never really good there, to be quite honest, and my results show that. But it's still a fantastic track, and it will be really good in these cars too. So looking forward to it. October 29, I will be there too, Reece, so we can cap up the season in the best way possible.
Very nice. Yep, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. That's 5:30 p.m. for those of you in the West, and 7:30 p.m. for those of you in Queensland. So make sure to join us here on SimSpeed TV for that. Big thanks to Bowler Media and Worm Paints for their support of Aussie Online Gaming, and of course to AOG themselves for organising this series in the first place. Always brings the action, does the AOG Porsche Cup. I'm Reece Gardner, Brady Bolbin with me in the comms box, Jay Kennedy covering for me in the first race and producing behind the scenes here on SimSpeed TV. We'll see you next time.